Don't let the ego warriors ruin your fun. Before the debate started, 40 of you were for on this side of the motion. 95 of you were against, and 66 were out there undecided. We're playing not only for those 66, but for the change of mind from one side to the other. It's now your turn. We have only one roving mic. Now, what that means is I'll try and clump comments, questions, address them specifically if you want, or address them generally if not. I'll try and clump them to areas and give you as much time as possible to contribute to this debate. Okay, the densest clump is around the back there. If anyone in there has a loud voice, please shout your question while the microphone arrives. The lady in the back with the glasses.
I just wanted to make a point about prediction very briefly. Science of global warming is the overwhelming consensus is it's man-made and it's really happening, but there is a predictive aspect, and the point is that the scientists, and that's more uncertain, they've slightly got it wrong. It's worse than they thought it was, not better, and that's the important thing about the prediction.
Okay.
I can give you evidence, but
Please do. There was another question just in front there.
Yeah.
If you could stand up, that'd be great.
Lord Monkton, you're sort of saying that it's sort of you either help the poor or you put money into global warming. Can I say two things? First of all, you can put money in both. Second of all, pollution and global warming actually contributes to the lack of food, the lack of water, etc. in Africa. So actually by putting money in global warming, you're helping.
Very good. And can I have a third question, again, close to that there. Very good.
This is again to Lord Monkton. Your point seemed to be a lot about money instead of actual happiness, which is what the question's for. I just wanted to know what makes you happy.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that makes me happy, and that is the satisfaction of knowing that we now have the capacity, if we stop wasting money on completely futile projects like global warming, we have the capacity to eradicate poverty worldwide now, if we choose to do so. And that is what I would like more than anything else to achieve. And in order to do that, to answer the earlier questioner saying you could do both, no, we don't have the money to do both. The problem of poverty is far more urgent and far more serious and far more immediate. I would start there and finish that one, because we don't have to worry about global warming. It's not happening at a sufficient rate to meet the forecast.
I'm not sure we got an answer to the question, but Martin, come in, please.
Yeah, I just want to really back up what you just said there. This false choice that the man's putting in front of us here, as if it's either climate change or helping the poor. First of all, we have plenty of resources in this world. It's not a lack of resources or a lack of money that's stopping us helping all the poor in the world. It's a lack of will and it's a lack of distribution. So, and don't believe this idea that it's either global warming, climate change is stopping us doing it. It's just nonsense.
And the main problem, the lack of distribution, is the state taking the money and spending it on stupid things like global warming.
We have a cluster of comments and questions on the front. The gentleman with the hat and the lady with the hat.
Just change perspective on the debate on climate change. If you look at it from a perspective of the marketeers have come on board 300 years ago, and you've created a system of life which is based upon markets. You started off as a system of these skills, which has become a much greater thing. You've taken over the whole world of everything else, and you believe so much in markets that's become everything. And all we are asking is that there's a balance in terms of life, and this is what climate change is giving us. It's giving us the debate to be able to express other parts of ourselves other than the aspect of money, which is what you are concentrating on.
Hi everyone, there's so much to speak on, but I'm just going to pick a few points from what Mr. Monkton and James Sterling-Paul said. So, from reading your literature and your exposure in the media, it seems like you're both in denial. I'd just like to touch...
Denial of what?
reality. I just
Which
like to touch on a
reality?
few
Be
things.
specific. Be specific,
Give me
please.
a chance to make the point. Okay, so a few things. There's a thing of you thinking you remember the House of Lords when you're not. There's a thing of you thinking you
So
remember.
you're an expert
Oh, hang
on
on,
the
hang
House
on.
of
Hear
Lords,
me out.
eh?
Hear me out. It's only good manners. My point is, if you can't, similar to the point Martin made, if you can't accept those, what hope is there of you accepting climate science?
Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Stop this ad hominem nonsense and get to the point scientifically, or pass the microphone to somebody else. Grow up, mate.
I'm not asking questions. I'm just going to make a few points. So the reason I talking of ad hom points, I want to touch on that. The reason I think that both of you seem to love ad homs so much is I feel that when people speak truth to, well, not power as such, but speak truth to you, you feel like your identity is being threatened because you're so deep in your egos.
Can you be specific, please,
Yeah,
or
okay.
you're going to waffle?
Sure. So when you feel like things that threaten your worldview, so values of
Come on, this
security,
is all
conformity.
psychobabble. Let's have a fact.
Okay.
Question coming.
You will have it's comments and questions, and you will have a chance to respond.
Comments and questions.
Ah, right, okay. We'll sit back and enjoy the fun, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so if you want facts, I'm going to just carry on with the delusion thing.
However, please wrap it up.
Scientific or economic facts, no more of this ad
Right,
hominem childish.
we'll talk about science. You seem to love to talk about science, yet your credibility is sorely lacking. There was a 48-page report from leading US scientists discrediting every one of your claims that you made to the House
16 of the 21 scientists who signed that report were ClimateGate emailers with a vested financial and political interest.
That's
Thank
lovely,
you.
that's lovely. Okay, a couple more things. You talk about the need for growth. Infinite growth is impossible. You talk about economic consensus. That would be good, except economists don't understand human nature. Humans are not
Okay,
machines.
thank you very much. Next question. Or comment.
No problem.
Ma'am.
Hello. So, all of the world's problems that you spoke of that you would like to solve could equally be solved by taking money from the military, which is another useless pursuit, and investing it in... So would you therefore be in favour of taking money from the military?
That is an intelligent question because it strikes right at the heart of the question of how we allocate resources. All I would say is this, that never have I seen such a stupid misinvestment than in trying to make global warming go away, when even if the science were right, the economics tells us it's 10 times more expensive to make it go away than to let it happen and take the consequences. That's the economic reality. So I would not throw money away on projects which are entirely wasteful.
Would anyone like to come back? There was the point about markets not being everything, and that's what climate change is about. There's a point about credibility, which we've been over.
The gentleman there seemed to think that markets were invented, 300 years ago? I mean, markets have been with us since forever. All markets is a voluntary mutual agreement between a buyer and a seller. And that's how prices are reached, that's how resources are allocated. So what's wrong with that?
Yeah, there
let's hear from this side, and then we'll go to more questions.
On the point about markets, which I think is where James and I will massively disagree. But I think I fundamentally agree with your point there. So there is, of course, markets are necessary. Markets are how people interact and trade and how things change with each other. The question is one of balance and judgment and extreme free marketism, the absolute raising of markets to the level of moral arbiters is where it's gone beyond joke and where it's gone off gotten.
Okay, I'd like to hear more from the floor. I'm looking for groups of questioners, given our single mic constraint. There's a very nice group here with three questions, one behind the other. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take 4 this time.
My first point is to Lord Monkton. Economically, you've got a very sound argument. Why bother arguing with science? It doesn't particularly help your cause. I agree with you. It's fine. To Catherine and Martin, a few hundred years ago, Malthus was arguing pretty similar sorts of things, and he was considered to be quite smug. If someone were to say that you were smug Malthusians, could you argue against that sensibly? And lastly, and very quickly, right at the beginning, James, you insulted somebody who's not here by saying they were cricket loving. You fuck.
We hope that's a lost vote.
Hello.
to Monson and Dellenpole mainly. I haven't read enough on the science of this to have a real scientific opinion on the matter. And so what I'd like to know is, from your perspective, at what point, if you think that climate change will become a problem, at what point do you think it will be economically viable to deal with it, and in what ways do you think we should deal with it?
And behind?
Good question.
Yeah.
So Catherine and Martin, I hear a lot of these arguments about eco-warriors, but then at the beginning we heard about the Greenpeace guy who's flying around the world for various things, invariably causing a lot of destruction and impact, dealing in exactly what he's trying to take away. I'd just like to hear what you think should be done about actually trying to tackle it in a way that is not actually adding to the problem.
And one just behind you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm probably being really naive here. I'm just a journalist who writes about travel and culture and fashion and inane stuff like that. I've never heard of Lord Monckton. What is this stuff about House of Lords? Are you in it or not? Because I'm quite interested.
Oh dear.
Can someone clarify this for me, please?
Right. Now, a bevy of very good questions. Smug Malthusians, why argue the science? When will it be a problem? How about jetting around to solve the problem? And I'm afraid to say, the membership of the House of Lords.
So I'll take the point about the flying from my sister. I think possibly I'm not enough of an eco-warrior to really spoil the fun around here. I mean, all I think is that this stuff needs to have the right price. I'm 100% with the Economist on this. I'm a capitalist. Put a price on this stuff and then see whether it's still worth going. It's as simple as that. Pay the cost of what you're doing by making those flights. And if it's still worth going to Iceland, then go. Simple as that.
I like nice Red Indian girl because she asked her question nicely. Thank you, Red Indian girl. My answer to your question is, when the problems arise, then we deal with them. Yeah.
Can you stand up and let everyone see why you're being called Red Indian Girl?
Give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Come on.
We should deal with the problems as and when they arise, rather than acting on the precautionary principle as if they might happen one day, but we're not sure when. No, they haven't happened. No. Sorry.
Would anyone like to take any of the other questions? I thought, to Lord Monckton, why even bother arguing the science? It doesn't do you any good.
Right. It's not a question of what does me good, it's a question of what is objectively speaking true, because the danger if we don't also argue the science is people will say it doesn't matter what it costs economically, we have to save the planet. Actually, the planet doesn't need saving. It was saved triumphantly by a carpenter's son from Galilee 2,000 years ago. It doesn't need saved again.
Now, if you have a loud voice, please stand up and make your point without the microphone. Sorry, right. I thought I was going to be able not to...
Can we take a vote? How many would like to hear me tell you why I'm a lord, and how many wouldn't?
In 30, as chair, can I put a 30-second time limit on that, please?
Here goes. The letters patent creating a peerage are in perpetuity unless repealed by specific legislation. A recent judgment on this very question, at the instigation of a noble friend, Lord Merryworth, has established that the House of Lords Act 1999 did not repeal the Act,
30.
And accordingly, I am a member of the House of Lords until my letters patent are repealed. Thank you.
Anyway, that was 30 seconds, very well spent. Could we have this question comment over here?
Says he isn't, so he probably isn't.
Please, smug Malthusians.
The House of Lords says I'm not because they're worried because they got the legislation wrong. We are about to expose this with a legal opinion which will shortly be available. Thank you.
Yes, that must be it. Okay, so smug Malthusian. That's all right, don't worry, I take no offence. So Malth is basically, for those less familiar with him, Malthus basically, it was a population point, and he was saying that the population will increase to the point at which resources cannot sustain it, and then it will drop down, and it will increasingly will drop down, and ultimately, in that great thing, humanity will lose out. I think the point about Malthus is we have no idea where science can take us with this point. We're heading onto a trajectory of 9 billion people on this planet. We're on that trajectory, we're not going to stop. The question isn't will we ultimately win or lose this battle, it's how we get there. So what we don't want to do is start to say some people have the right to live and some people don't have the right to live, which is essentially where Malthus took his argument to, that there is a natural point at which people don't have the right to live because there are too many people on the planet. That is not a point that I would subscribe to, so I wouldn't call myself a smug Malthusian. I'm a firm believer in science. I think we're going to get to 9 billion people and we need to figure out a way to feed that people. We crossed a line about 15 years ago where we stopped having enough food on the planet that was just not distributed properly, and we started not to look into a future where we cannot produce enough with the current food system in place to feed all those people. So we need to make some shifts and some changes. But I wouldn't say
I'm afraid there are lots of questions. Talk afterwards. One over here, and then the two ladies in the back. Yes, pink with a very nice purple top.
Hello, I'm Andrew. I'm an eco-warrior, and I've had a lot of fun the last few days. I think lots of other people here have too. I think climate change can be a bit of a distraction, but what I really take issue with is this idea that any money spent mitigating climate change or dealing with that issue at any kind of level is a waste of money. Because in dealing with climate change, we deal with things that are real-world problems today. We don't have to speculate about the future. If we deal with things like deforestation and stopping deforestation, if we deal with things like stopping exploratory drilling for oil, destructive mining practices, these are things that have real-world benefits right now for millions, if not billions of people all over the world. So why do you have such a problem with us spending money, spending time and effort in actually dealing with these root causes, these terrible problems that actually will mitigate climate change in the future, even if you don't believe in it, but deal with real-world problems right now?
Thank you for the question. And can we have a couple exactly the fuchsia top?
Hello, I'm married to a climate change scientist, and I wanted Lord Monckton to come and have a word with him. How many rail scientists have you talked to?
Several hundred.
Several hundred. Would you like to talk to David?
Be delighted.
Poor old David, who's on the spot there.
David, could you please stand?
Could you tell us what your degree is in and what subject you'd like to talk about?
My name is Dr. Wilkinson. My PhD is in ocean dynamics and climate dynamics.
Thank you.
From the National Oceanography Centre, Southampton. I'm not really a climate scientist, I don't work here anymore, so my wife's overrated that a little bit. I would have one question. I mean, I think there is a valid debate about where you spend money. I don't have a problem with that argument. You did touch on some of the sort of science earlier on, and you rather implied that the climate system was linear. When you said that, how much it's changed over the last 50 years, 100 years, doesn't allow for it to change more in the future. I would have thought, having met lots of climate scientists, you must know that's not true.
Very good. Non-linearity, and let's have the very final question. Exactly. Final question. Now, as this question is happening, we're passing around the ballot box. The way you vote, you should have a ticket for or against. If you still don't know, put both in the box. Otherwise, rip for, rip against, and put the one that you now believe in the box.
Okay, so James, my question was...
Ooh, hello.
Well, hi. So you're
Hello.
comparing England at the moment and just the world at the moment to Victorian London fixed on the 10th. That is one
I wish we were Victorian London. We're not. But tell me.
So that's one river, and you're saying because of that one river and capitalism curing that.
No, that was called an example.
You have a summing
yes,
up.
it's an example, but still, what I'm saying is climate
Is it a bad
change.
example?
It's a very bad example because capitalism cannot fix climate change. We can put money towards it, but the big problem, like Catherine was saying, is the massive amounts of waste. We live in the most wasteful society there's ever been at the moment. People have chucked, at the end of this festival, there will be tents left, there will be I worked clearing up festivals. There's cans of beer. I mean, seriously, guys, don't leave your shit at this festival because it's a big problem. I mean, seriously, cans, stools, tents, everything. I couldn't even walk carrying the amount of stuff I took back from the last festival I went to. And it is such a waste. It goes to landfill, it cannot be recycled, it's poisoning the earth. So capitalism is not going to solve that. Us stopping waste is going to solve that.
Thank you very much. That's a very good note to end the floor from. Wilderness should respect the wilderness. And can we have summations, a minute, going in reverse order?
Do we answer those questions first?
No, could you answer them during your summation to the extent that you'd like to pick them up?
So, summation.
The motion to remind you as you're deciding what to put, which way to vote, is don't let the eco-warriors ruin your fun. If you've been convinced by this side, put the for in. If you've been convinced by this side, put the against in. If you still don't know, put them both in. And let's have the summation, starting with Martin.
We know what makes people happy. We know what brings well-being in life. We know what brings people fulfillment in life. And most of those things can be done without any thought of the climate, because they don't involve massive acquisitions of things. They involve spending time with your family, with your friends. They involve coming to places like this. They involve being in love. They involve improving yourself as a human being. So actually, if you want to think about how to be fun, don't worry about the eco-terrorists, don't worry about the eco-warriors, don't worry about James and Christopher over there. Just follow your own heart and do those things that will make you happy.
To answer your question, sir, of course we should deal with deforestation. And of course that has a climate impact, I don't deny it. What I'm saying is we should not be spending money on things like carbon taxes and ETS schemes and carbon trading. That is a complete waste of everybody's time and money. It makes absolute bankers rich, and if you don't believe in capitalism, then you shouldn't believe in cap and trade. So that's the answer to that one. David, your scientific question. Of course the climate system is a coupled, non-linear, mathematically chaotic object, and therefore the long-term prediction of future climate states is not possible. And I'm quoting there from the IPCC's 2001 report. Because it is non-linear, therefore we cannot tell which way it's going to jump next. However, there is no, I was asking a simple question, what physical basis is there for assuming, quite wrongly as far as I can see, that the rate of warming we've seen over the last 60 years, during which we've added a lot of CO2 to the atmosphere, is suddenly going to triple or even quintuple if you take the IPCC's forecast. There is no physical basis for that to happen, and therefore we should not waste money trying to prevent it happening unless and until it becomes far clearer than it has so far that it is going to happen. And therefore it is cheaper to sit back, enjoy the sunshine and do nothing, and spend the money instead on helping the poor, because the more money we spend helping the poor, the quicker we solve the problems of poverty. And I don't want it on my conscience or the conscience of this country that we have wasted on climate change money we could and should be spending on those who immediately need our help now.
Thank you very much. Catherine, typical summation.
So I hope we've talked enough about whether or not doing something about climate change is going to spoil our fun. I hope we've concluded that it's going to involve more sitting in fields and singing and less plasma screen tellies. It sounds pretty fun to me. But I think we've been talking about the developing world a bit. I mean, the IPCC report, recent IPCC report, the climate change is going to cause massive migration as low-lying countries are flooded. Global trade, transport, energy supplies, labour markets, banking, finance, investment, insurance, it's going to wreak havoc on everything that goes towards keeping the world functioning. The developing countries, lots of which are already involved in wars, are going to be drawn into bigger disputes over water, energy supplies, food, and it's going to interrupt. The climate change is going to interrupt their economic growth, and it's going to do it before it does it in the West, precisely because of where they're located in the world. And that does not sound very much fun to me.
I totally agree with that. We should all spend much more of our time sitting around in fields, listening to music and smoking dope. However, I also think that the world is on the brink. In fact, it's already teetering over the edge of an economic precipice at the moment. And I sense from quite a few of the questions that the questioners have not experienced what it's like yet to try and pay off a mortgage, educate or even feed your children, or any of the other tedious things that happen to you when you become a grown-up and have to earn your way in the world and work. And if you think that this is going to be solved by more government handouts, you're living on an entirely different planet from planet reality. What? Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, then wake up and smell the coffee and understand that money doesn't come from a magic money tree.
I'm very glad to end up on this question, which we will be debating with Laurie Penny and David Willits in November. So remember to sign up your email to the various intelligence squared people at the back. Thank you very, very much for coming here. Remember that if you sign up your email, you get 10% off the next ticket. You get a draw in a free event, and you will be able to debate exactly this question in November. Now, the results tonight. Before the debate, let me remind you, there were 66 don't knows. There were 95 for this side and 40 for this side. The don't knows, I'm glad to say, have gone down to 15. There are still 15 of you who are undecided on the question. The question is, don't let the eco-warriors spoil your fun. For the motion, for this side, we are now at 25, from 40 when they came in, and against the motion, congratulations, we're at 150.